Can everyone hear me? Okay, my kids always say that they can hear me. So, well, we're excited you guys are here today, and I'm super excited to be having the opportunity to spend some time with you guys and share your amazing success at Abercrombie. So, my first one question for you would be, because we're in Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world, of course, what was your first concert? Megan?
My first concert was either an OAR or a Matchbox 20. I'm not sure which one, but one of them.
All right, that sounds like a good one.
We geeked out over OAR earlier.
We did.
Yeah,
we had a little crazy game of poker singing.
Mine was Milli Vanilli.
Oh my gosh.
True
and
story.
It's shocking that he admits
True
that.
story.
It completely admits
My mom
that.
brought me before the lip syncing scandal.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, my first concert was, I grew up in Chicago, Irish Catholic, really strict family. I literally lied to my family, got on the L, and went down to Soldiers Field and went to the Beach Boy concert. But the most important thing is I saved my money and went to A&F, your brand, to buy my high school boyfriend cologne. So fast forward now, I have 3 kids. And now I'm spending and reinventing and watching the brand grow. So my 2 boys, I go there for the epic t-shirts, but then my daughter, of course, called me a couple days ago to tell me that she purchased her formal dress for her sorority thanks to your Best Women's. Yes, absolutely. So I'm really excited to see your brand evolve and how the rebranding really took place. And I'd love to have you guys talk a little bit about your journey.
Let's do it.
Yes, happy to.
So just to talk a little bit about your rich history. Mm-hmm. So Megan, I know we talked on the phone earlier this week, and you talked about when you were founded and really kind of that great heritage.
Yes.
Can you share with everyone kind of where you guys have been and where you're going?
Yes, absolutely. I know we have some slides, so there's a visual that can be popped up here as well. But in terms of our timeline, we're actually a 130-year-old brand. Most people don't know. If we go forward one more. There we go. So we're a 130-year-old brand. We actually were founded in 1892. So for those who have seen that on clothing over time, that is a real year when we were founded. And really, as we were founded as a premier outdoor retailer. So we've always been a retailer, very outdoor focused. We had presidents and politicians and visionaries alike all in our clothing when it founded, and we opened a store in the middle of New York that was all about bringing the outdoors to the middle of the city. So you could fish in ponds, and there were shooting ranges and everything. It was really bringing the true outdoors to the middle of the city. So we were started as a brand that was very disruptive, very different, very experiential, very ephemeral. And that maintained throughout the 1900s with a few general chapters, but mostly the brand that everyone knows started in the 1990s and early 2000s. That's the brand most people hear. When you hear Abercrombie, you can smell it. That is what you think of. And grew to immense popularity. It had icon status truly at one point, but as consumers and the world started evolving, the brand wasn't evolving with it. And fell out of favor in the 20-teens. We talk about how in 2016 we were actually voted the most hated brand.
That must have been a great.
That's not a lie. That's an actual.
Yeah,
that's a headline.
That must have been a great day at your office, right?
Yes. So that really was what we've been coming back from since then. In 2017, we got a new CEO come in, who is our CEO still today, Fran Horowitz, who had the company address really every aspect. It was product to supply chain to customer service to leadership. We've touched everything since she's been at the company. I joined in 2016 as we got this lovely most hated brand.
Great news. Thanks.
Exactly.
Good idea, Megan.
They made T-shirts.
So we've been on a evolution since then. Ultimately, in 2017, 2018, 2019 was really about figuring out the new version of who we were going to be, what we were going to stand for. Even if we go forward a slide, I think we have a little bit of a visual of what that looked like for us. So we were in this reflection phase. Where have we been? What was true to our founding? How do we think about taking that into our future? The repositioning and reimagining, who are we trying to be? What consumer are we trying to talk about? We aged up. We determined we were for the 20-somethings based on their life stage, and really spent all this time kind of laying the foundation. 2019 started expressing it out into the world. 2020 COVID hit, and we had to readjust it again. We had to go, well, no one's going out, no one's wearing jeans, everyone's staying home. Our consumer was going through something different, like all of us as humans and brands and companies were. So we had to pivot again. And really since 2020, we've been in this cycle of listening, learning, reacting. And that's when TikTok became a huge part of our story. In 2020, we all saw in COVID, as no one could get out, everyone started flocking to TikTok, and that's where we went. And it has played a huge role in our resurgence.
And I feel like you guys are starting the lead. So Harley, that's when, I know you guys have known each other for quite some
We
time.
have. Yep.
And that's when your agency, and you really have a unique partnership with
We
your
do,
agency.
yeah. And sorry that I sound like this. My lovely daughter gave me a cold to come down to Austin with, so that was nice of her. But yeah, we go back. With, our relationship spans almost 10 years. Both of us in previous roles. So when we started IF7, I used to run digital brand partnerships at Paramount. My co-founder Michelle and my esteemed colleague James Drake in the front row here too. We started this new project, this new media company called IF7, and obviously our first call was to Megan and team, and we started to concept and set kind of out on this path that you've seen here, but the partnership was rooted in trust, right? There's no other replacement for it. We had worked together, we knew each other, there was institutional trust there, and we had some really foundational work to build on.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about why your TikTok campaigns are so successful and why they resonate with consumers.
Yeah, for sure, and I love Megan's perspective too, but I think that's a very long-winded answer there.
Sorry about that. We only have 30 minutes, okay?
Right. I have a problem rambling, so I'll try not to. But
Okay.
I think the central piece of our TikTok strategy and why it really has worked so well is because everything you see on that timeline slide that the brand had been doing led up to a really important moment in just a different, powerful place that was TikTok. So as everybody here knows, it's just a different environment. It is filled with the types of passionate communities that don't exist really anywhere else. And, Abercrombie didn't show up there, loudly and, putting a stake in the ground. They really took time to understand what was going on, what this new consumer was looking for, what they weren't looking for. And at the same time, this was happening as their clothes were changing, and they were appealing to a more diverse audience of both race and ethnicity, but also body types. And all of these things were happening in concert. And our TikTok strategy was not to just go out and work with fashion influencers, right? Obviously, it's a fashion retail brand, but it needs to be about much bigger than that. So we worked with a very unexpected kind of broad spectrum of creators that we thought together could carry this Abercrombie message. And then even drilling down a level deeper than that, which kind of subset of those creators do we think can actually help us move bottom line product? Which ones aren't really fit for that can really help us drive this top line messaging? And this strategy, which was kind of dual purpose and on parallel tracks, worked really, really well. So that is a very kind of...
No, you're answering the question really well. One thing I did want to ask, because a lot of marketers are now utilizing TikTok, how do you measure success? So I work at adMarketplace. We are a search performance platform. I work with retailers, and all they want us to do is drive incremental revenue. So how do you measure it? How do you make sure that it's successful, and can you kind of contribute it to the bottom line of your brand, right?
Yeah, I mean, we look at TikTok as a full funnel tactic, ultimately. And to go back to why important reason why it's working so well is as we were redefining our brand and we were trying to re-express it to the world, we also knew we couldn't express it and have people trust it and believe it. It really needed to be about the community. So we didn't set out on TikTok going like, let's try and get as many followers as we possibly can on our own branded channel, though that's more the natural approach that a brand would want to take, because you want to control your message as you try and express it out into the world. And we said, we can't do that. We need people to do it for us. So it was really, really authentic, and that's why it came through the community rather than through us. And there are lots of photos that we could share of just how hands-on, high touch this has been for us in this process. Our teams have filled their living rooms and our offices and their cars with boxes and product and really just getting the brand out into the hands of the people and letting the people determine how to express that to their own followers in a way that's really authentic. So we say, here's who we are and here's what we stand for, and we are a different brand, and we are an inclusive brand, we are a value-driven brand. But you know your audience, you know your own brand, you know how to speak to the community that you've created. So we really hand over control, and I think
that's really important.
That's why
I think it's also important that you guys are listening.
Correct.
A lot of retailers are like, this is what you need to buy. This is what is hot.
Right.
But you're listening to those consumers, and it's a very diverse group of consumers.
Absolutely.
Thanks to what you're doing on TikTok.
It's important too to provide, obviously, like a creative, strategic framework for the talent, so they understand the types of things that you're looking to do. And it's not the Wild West; it can't be. But you also don't want to stifle their creativity, which we see happening every single day.
Yeah, and that's a fine line, I would assume, and that's why your agency's the experts at it.
We try to be. I think, but with the reason our partnership works so well is we always joke, like, if you walk, and I think I mentioned this to you, if you walk in a room, you can't tell who, and we're all at a table, you can't tell who's on which team.
Yeah.
And it is truly one unit, and we move in as cliche as it is, in the most collaborative of ways. So that really happens with, Megan and the team understanding the brand as well as they do, and the idiosyncrasies of the brand, and our team knowing what's happening from a trend perspective, what talent are the ones that are, not so much now, but next, because we see right now we're seeing the most kind of performance and engagement with this mid-level creator versus the creator that has 50 million followers. Right?
Absolutely.
Because TikTok is made up of a land of smaller communities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the next slide we have will show kind of the results that you guys have received because of the performance of your messaging.
Yeah, if you go forward too,
there we go.
This really speaks to the full funnel approach. I think it's a lot of people when you're starting on TikTok, it's like, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it for brand awareness? Am I trying to drive revenue? How do I think about how to report back for yourself, but also for a leadership team who's asking? And there's these, and there's a ton of metrics that aren't on here. I mean, there are brand affinity lifts and brand image lifts and brand love lifts, all of that, but there's also really tangible quantitative results as well. So social commerce on the whole, not just TikTok, but social commerce on the whole, is a 9-digit revenue stream for us. And that's just what's trackable. We also know that there's a huge halo that what happens in the social sphere has on our businesses. We simply can't measure, but that's how the world works. TikTok specifically plays a very large role in that. We have billions and billions of views from, again, the community speaking on the behalf, and some of it's the story of like, oh my God, Abercrombie's cool again, oh my God, this brand is back and different, but also this product is amazing, and let me tell you all about why this product is amazing, and you need it. But we also look at it as a billion-person focus group for ourselves. So our product teams learn a ton from what people say about either our product or other product. And it really becomes this like full cycle through our entire company, not just marketing, of how we think about our business and listening to consumers and then reacting to consumers, whether that is in how we're talking and what we're providing or literally the product that we are making. We have products go viral, we have things sell out. A ton of our editorial storytelling is very specifically about TikTok. Last year we were voted TikTok's favorite fashion brand. So it has so many different ways that we've looked at measurement and the role that this channel has played in our ability to tell the new chapter of our story.
Yeah. And what's great about it is it's been such a journey for rebranding, and you've made, it upper funnel, lower funnel, the performance metrics, etc. It's delivering.
That's the goal, right? Aside from creating, good content that connects with people, it's about being able to have that upper funnel, those vanity metrics, to be able to make sure that we're having that reach. But at the end of the day, we're trying to help our partners sell products and services, so that's important too.
I think, Megan, you mentioned on the phone with us that the brand is committed, and I'm going to read this, leading with purpose, championing inclusivity, and the sense of belonging. And that's authentic. It's authentic to what you guys do and your campaigns. So question for you, what can we expect from the brand this year, 2023? What are you seeing in the economy? There's all this gloom and doom and the recession, inflation. However, like my platform, we're kicking butt. People are buying, and they're buying a lot of product. So what are you seeing in the next, in 2023?
Yes. On the doom and gloom, I think we've all seen doom and gloom every year for the past several years. I don't think that it's anything new to any of us, including Abercrombie and IF7 in our partnership. So it's not stopping us by any means from continuing to think about how we listen, learn, and react and grow on this platform and off this platform. I think we're going to see TikTok as a whole grow. In our space in general, Abercrombie, outside of just this platform, we have a lot happening in collaborations. We have something coming that is kind of inspired by some vintage collections of ours. We continue to see so much growth in our fit inclusivity, and we're just going to keep seeing that grow in our Curve Love offering and tall offerings for men, and just all these different things that we're doing to try and ensure that clothes fit us the way they should.
Like
we are not trying to fit the clothes. So there's a lot happening in the brand as a whole. You can hit on some of the things coming in the TikTok space.
Yeah, Harley, what's going on?
Yeah, we can't let too much out of the bag. But no, we have a lot happening this year. We're obviously building on the success of last year, and we're going to be taking everything we learned, and really this year's going to be about evolving that, and then being able to do some more interesting things with pieces like promo codes and some cool experimentation there. And then we are also working with Megan and team across some other brands across the portfolio,
That's
which
exciting.
we previously had some light exposure to, but some really fun challenges.
That's great, exciting. And then kids, women, men, it's pretty amazing. I love the journey. And I love, Megan, that you started in 2016.
Correct.
Hated brand.
Hated
and now
brand.
you guys are kicking butt. So that's
Exactly.
really exciting.
Thank you.
Well, we look forward to learning more and hearing more
Thank you.
about
Thank you.
A&F moving forward. Do you guys have any questions? I think we're done with. I'm done with my questions. We're going to open it up.
Oops. I feel like from a media's perspective, a lot of people can say, "Oh, apply a research study, look into some insights or whatnot." From your perspective, maybe different brand by brand. Are you just leaning to, hey, let's just read what consumers are saying via TikTok because that's where your culture and consumers are, beyond just like, oh, let's go to a good like Nielsen study. No offense to anybody here, but Nielsen and things like that. Is that just kind of as you view that as kind of something of the past, and you just kind of utilize those various social platforms as just your almost insights tool, so to speak?
I mean, we look at both what some might consider the more traditional and now it's social. So we still do lots of other versions of consumer research, whether with our actual customers or consumers we still want to reach through market research teams. And we still do a ton over there, but also socials where we're listening every single day. There's not a day that our teams are not on TikTok, and that is up through leadership. There's not a day that like our president doesn't send us, look at this person on TikTok. So it's really on both sides and complementing both. But you have to, in the social sphere, you have to be in it every day to really know what people are saying about your brand, how you can fit in, how consumers are evolving. Consumers are evolving at such an immense speed that there's no stopping. Like our brand revolution and evolution is never going to be done. It's really about kind of keeping up with it, but also having these kind of more structured, more traditional ways of looking at it too. So both are incredibly essential to how we've gotten to where we are and how we're going to keep evolving on that.
Obviously, TikTok is central to your social media strategy at the moment, but as you just said, consumers are constantly evolving, and obviously brands have to evolve to keep pace. So I'm curious to know sort of what other irons in the fire, so to speak, you're keeping your eye on. What else do you think is going to become important?
Yes, it is important to diversify, and there are a lot of irons in the fire. But I think we also will continue to follow consumers where they go. So right now they're in TikTok. We will stay in TikTok, but we are not only in TikTok. Every aspect of social is important. We have an incredibly successful affiliate business, incredibly successful editorial business. There's a lot of other places that we're playing. Now we're also getting back out into the physical store space again, now that consumers are kind of ready for it and really craving it again. So there's a lot of testing that we're doing of taking these communities and now bringing them into physical places. We have a lot of product collaboration. So while there's a ton going on in TikTok, yes, we do have irons kind of all over the place to ensure that all aspects of the business are firing.
Care to place any bets?
Place any bets?
Yeah, what's going to be next? What's going to be your next TikTok?
I don't know what the next TikTok is going to be, but what I can say is I think influencer marketing we're only going to continue to see evolve and become more and more and more and more integral, whether it's on TikTok specifically or elsewhere. But I think continuing to hand over the brands to the community and the consumer is going to continue to be where we see brands go more and more.
I don't think one has emerged just yet. You know, there's been like the Be Reals of the world will pop up, and you'll see some others, but none with staying power like that yet. But the cool thing about the model that we have too is like we're not tied to one. So, you know, we follow attention. So the second that one merits attention, we will be there.
Yeah, and I don't know that in 2019 we would have said the next year was going to be TikTok.
Right.
So
Yeah.
who knows?
Any other questions?
Hi, thank you so much for giving the talk. It's really cool. One thing that I thought was really innovative about your brand was when you released the Hollister Snapchat store for Black Friday a couple years ago. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys came up with that and kind of the metrics and ROI you got from that? Because I think it's a fantastic case study of how you can use AR and stuff like that in retail.
Yeah, I think a lot that's happening on the Snapchat channel is more a test and learn for us, and I think that's what's really important and can be very hard when you're thinking about measurement and the proof on the money that you're putting into these platforms. But just as much as you need to have bottom of funnel aspects, you need to have things that are just allowing you to be where your consumers are, even if you're not shoving a specific product at them in that moment. I think that's how we've seen what the Snapchat platform does. And that's the role that it plays for us. It's more like, how do you stay in front of your consumer, even if it's not in that moment trying to transact? It has this really long tail impact. So I would say that's how we look at Snapchat.
Any other questions? Well, there's more.
Hi, I want to echo the thank you for the panel. It's been really interesting. As someone who was in high school in 2006 and experienced that era of the Abercrombie brand, it was very cool to walk into a store 2 years ago and see a very holistic overhaul and get that really tactile new experience of retail, and then see it followed up with everything else. But I work in customer experience with Publicis Sapient, so my question is from that perspective, how do you see Abercrombie continuing to innovate and use digital to link the in-store brick and mortar with what you're doing on social, with how you're innovating in the fitting rooms and with your staff, that's really getting that customer-facing experience, as well as those influencers online?
Yes, Omni.
Good question.
Yeah, oh, that's a really good question.
I think it's a place that we're going to keep testing and learning in. That's a part of our culture. I think it should be a part of more cultures, to be honest. But we are continuing to look at how you connect those spaces. We see, and it's different for each of the brands under our umbrella, but we see each brand have a different experience of how consumers use digital and then store and then digital and what that interaction is. Hollister, we see even more kind of starting in digital to go in store versus Abercrombie's like a little different. So we're also trying to test and learn on each brand depending on the age of your consumer and what you're looking for. I loosely mentioned, I think we are going to start bringing talent more into the store space. We also have a very close relationship with TikTok themselves, and as they are thinking about what they can do, because we're asking them, all brands are asking them that question too, of how do you take this thing that is in your hands on your phone and start to create a physical experience around it. So we're on a journey with them as they figure that out too, how we can connect that. I think we're seeing a lot happening in like the lives space, live on TikTok, live on Instagram. We're all exploring that, and while it hasn't had the same success in the States that it's had maybe in other parts of the world, I think we're all trying to figure out how to make it work and what role that plays in that connection, how you can kind of take people to the store when they can't maybe be there, but they still feel like they can. So I think we're just going to keep seeing a lot of things that we're trying and testing and learning, because while you're in, it is, you have that digital experience while you're in the store. We need to do a better job at connecting that for consumers.
It
but
also
I would say
plays
that we've
into
not
like
cracked it.
the idea of our continuity between the content that's being consumed from brand channel, from talent channel, so there's a uniformity to it. and it's not disjointed at all. So when the consumer walks into the brick and mortar, it's just an extension of the through line, basically.
Any final question? All
You look
righty.
so serious.
Well, I just want to make sure. If not, give these people a round of applause.
Thank you.